You see, Brahman cannot do anything. When you when you hear of some disasters in the world, we hear about people shooting down madly at 50 people or burning down something, and we hear of these absolute horrible acts, and we wonder, where is God? A lot of people ask, where is God? How could such a thing happen? Consciousness is like the light. Light. Consciousness is like light. It does not do anything. It will just show you everything. The light, if I throw garbage over here, is the light going to become dim? The light is not going to become dim. The light is going to shine as bright as it is. If I have garbage in this room, then it will show the garbage. If I have flowers in this room, it will show the flowers. Consciousness just empowers whatever is there in the causal body. There is an individual causal body, all of us have, and there is a collective causal body. That means there's a collective destiny of this country, of this universe, of this earth. एकदन्तं चतुर्हस्तं पाशमाकुशधारिणं रदं च वरदं हस्तैर्बिभ्राणं मूषकध्वजं रक्तं लम्बोदरं शूर्पकर्णकं रक्तवाससं रक्तगन्धानुलिप्ताङ्गं रक्तपुष्पैः सुपूजितं भक्तानुकम्पिनं देवं जगत्कारणम् अच्युतम् अविभूतं च शिष्टयादौ प्रकृते पुरुषात् परम् एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः ॐ नमो व्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्तेस्तु लम्बोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय श्रीवरदमूर्तये नमो नमः. Om. So day 2 for all of us, and the beautiful Shakti. Even I was in so much of a light feeling in my head after the class, yesterday's class, and I felt there's a lot more that I wanted to speak, a lot more that I wanted to talk, and I felt it was all so quick. And the Shakti is like that, when she becomes active in our body, then she wants to play. She wants to play, and she wants us to play with her. This is the force, the beautiful pranic force, which is Daivik, very Daivik. So the very important thing to understand, in continuation to what we spoke yesterday, that from Paramatma, the moving energy which is coming out is Adi Shakti, and she is the one that is doing this whole creation, and she is the one that is making everything manifest. So at the onset, there are these two variations of her that come up. Many of the Upanishads have talked about it, have spoken about it, and the Devi Mahatmya also talks about it. When we give a human form to the power, for instance, the feminine power which is there, when we address her as the Devi, then there are many stories which are attached to her different forms and her different manifestations. Similarly, when we talk of Shiva as a human, as a gender, then there are many different rupas of Shiva that we talk about. So many Shiva forms are spoken about. And so it goes with all the Devi Devatas. One needs to appreciate it, accept it, and revere it, love it, and yet keep the constant truth in the mind. The truth is that there is one truth, and there's one energy, and there's one consciousness, there's one Paramatma, there's one Devi, there's one power. That idea of oneness and that idea of one power should never go out of your mind. And keeping that in mind, one should enjoy this entire, the broad mythology and story and Puranas and all of these stories that are offered to us. You should enjoy all that. There is a lot of symbolism in that. There's a lot of symbolism, there's a lot of meaning in all the stories, and yet one should never get distracted from this one power certitude which is there in your mind. So this Devi Shakti that comes, when consciousness starts moving, it is Adi Shakti. She primarily takes two forms, Parashakti and Aparashakti. Para word literally means higher, superior. Para literally means superior, higher. And a very pure, unconditioned consciousness is what she works with. She works with very pure, unconditioned consciousness that is always taking you into consciousness, into pure consciousness, into Paramatma. And there is Apara Shakti, which is illusory, Maya, conditioned consciousness, and giving birth to the multiplicity, fragmenting of this entire world. All right? So now, if you remember yesterday, I said that you must never forget that God is playing a game with us. Never forget that God is playing a game with us and we are playing, we're children, we are playing game. You live life in that spirit. And don't take life so seriously that you let every event of your life pierce through your heart and break down your entire nervous system. It's a game, and we fall down once, we fail once, we lose something, again get up, start playing. Start playing that spirit. You can get that spirit only when you never forget that he's playing a game and he's laughing, he's smiling, he's loving us. He's laughing, he's smiling, he's loving us. And when you play as children, don't you get cricket khelte hain, don't we get out? We get stump bowled. Absolutely. What happens? Do we get devastated? No, we play again. We start bowling again and we start, batting again. Similarly, you lose in your running race or you lose in your swimming competition and you lose in so many other things. It's okay. It's okay. Play the game again every time. So this Parashakti and Aparashakti are his powerful tools to play this game. Powerful tools to play this game. One that takes you upward in him, and the other that takes you away, and gets you engrossed and makes you forget reality. Parashakti, para is superior, apara is inferior. Doesn't mean inferior literally, but in comparison, when we talk about one that is pro-godly nature and the other that is pro-worldly nature. So it's not bad, bad, bad. It's pro-worldly nature. So one is outward, the other's movement is inward. One keeps nudging you to go deeper and higher. The other keeps nudging you to get involved outside. It's a game that we are playing, remember. And these two are his important tools. One keeps, every day you get up in the morning, I have to start getting into discipline now. I have to start meditating every day. I have to do this. I want to read. I want to study this. You want to attend festivals and, class. There's one thought that is always pro-evolution and pro-growth, and there's other thought that lazes, procrastinates, and says, "Acha, kal dekhi jayegi." We'll see it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. For next year, resolution. So the one is pro and the other is anti, and yet both are his tools. Even in our Puranic stories, the Shiv Puran and the Bhagavad Puran talk about two characters, Aditi and Diti. And Nilima has been, so fascinated with that. And I've been talking about this with her ever since the Swarna Sankhya had happened. And I was also fascinated as I never looked at it like that. And I'm not a very Puranic person, because I love to read, but I go more with science. However, Aditi and Diti is absolutely apt an example to understand about Parashakti and Aparashakti. Aditi and Diti, they were daughters of Prajapati. Prajapati is consciousness, okay? Prajapati is consciousness. And he gives birth to these two, Aditi and Diti, and they're married to Rishi Kashyap. Rishi Kashyap is the seed of humanity. I'll explain to you the logic behind the story as well, side by side. He is the seed of humanity. So Aditi, which is Parashakti, gives birth to all the gods and goddesses and all the devas, so to say. 33 sons, she has 33 sons according to the Puran. 33 sons, all the Adityas, all the Rudras and all the Vasus, are born to Aditi. That means all the pro-evolution forces are born to her. And Diti, which is her sister, and always in envy of her, You know, she gives birth to all the destructive forces, all the asuras, demons, and daityas. We call her the Daitya Mata. Diti is called the Daitya Mata, and Aditi is called the Deva Mata, because she gives birth to all the godly forces, and Diti gives birth to all the asuric forces. Again, here, multiplicity of these two Shaktis, Parashakti and Aparashakti, have now fragmented into so many good and bad forces for the game to get more intense, for the game to become more intense, and for the play to become more complicated, and the play to become more engrossing for each one of us. All right? In these powerful cosmic forces, all these stories can always be understood from 2 points of views. One is from the macroscopic point of view, where you understand these as natural forces that are going pro and anti, nature. One is Daivik and the other is Daitya. That means it is demonic. Yeah. At a macro level, you can also understand these forces working at the micro level. Within your body is like a universe. Within your body, you have consciousness, you have the Paramatma inside of you, and there is this Adi Shakti, which is creating movement, and there is this Parashakti and Aparashakti coming inside of you. And this Parashakti and Aparashakti started playing the game with you, and it is now fragmented into the Daivik forces and the Asuri forces inside you. These Daivik forces of the Parashakti that are released inside you, they take and activate your higher mind and higher consciousness. They take you upward. And the Aparashakti, which is there inside you, it activates the unconscious and it takes you downward. It supports ignorance, it supports avidya, it supports getting involved in everything as if it's the last day of my life and I have to win the war, and makes you feel the unreal to be real. It is ignorance prone. It's prone to ignorance and it'll soak you deep into ignorance. Now, here comes a very vital understanding question point to be pondered on, that if this Parashakti and Aparashakti are in me, am I aware of it, first of all? Am I aware of it, that this prana is playing the game in me and there is this Parashakti? Where is this Parashakti of mine and where is this Aparashakti? How much of the energy in me is supported by the Parashakti and how much energy in me is supported by the Aparashakti? Can I analyze and evaluate me a little? If you're studying the macrocosmic laws and the powers of the universe, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It gives a lot of order to the brain to think about. But unless you understand that macroscopic information from the microscopic point of view, there's no meaning to this jnana. There's no meaning to this jnana. This profound, beautiful universe is wonderful and all of this is fine. But what about me? I need to understand my life and I need to understand my energy and I need to understand God vis-a-vis me, because this is what your life is involved in. If someone like me says that I'm not attached to me at all and I am living for God's sake, it would be a lie. We are all living for our sake. We are all living for our sake, and that's how God has designed us, that our ego keeps us in the shell of our identification and personality until the end. Even if it is God realization that I'm pursuing, it is I am pursuing. The I is pursuing God realization, so the ego does not die, till the end, unless it dissolves completely in God, and then that your body is transmuted. Sri Aurobindo has spoken so much about transmutation, and we have some practical examples of transmutation where people haven't found the body. Mirabai has that, she's just gone and disappeared into the temple and dissolved into Sri Krishna. We have examples of Adiguru Shankaracharya, never, his body was not found. He just disappeared into the, so body transmutes. When the ego dissolves completely in the divine, the body can transmute. And this is something fascinating. It's a very difficult, faraway thing for us to talk. It's a theoretical thing for us to talk. For all practical purposes, all of us are living within the ego identity. And we have to pursue our godliness and our God realization through this ego orientation. So when we talk about Parashakti and Aparashakti, it's important for us to understand that, okay, there are these two forces that have started playing this game, and all the fragmenting of prana that happens, whatever kinds of prana you talk about, they fall into this or this. In the Upanishad, we are doing the Prashna Upanishad presently. There's a beautiful word that Pippalada Rishi has used. He calls it Rai and Prana. Rai and Prana have been used very synonymous to the Parashakti and the Aparashakti. Parashakti is synonymous with the Prana word, and Aparashakti with the word Rai. So Aparashakti is a consuming Shakti. Consuming Shakti. That means you're constantly generating energy. There's constant prana inside your body all the time with the food that you eat, with the breath, breathing in and breathing out, and the consciousness itself is radiating and emanating a lot of prana all the time. We're getting prana even from the cosmos. There is this white light that is, absorbed in the body. There is a lot of auric energy which is absorbed. There is the breath that is constantly intaking, prana. So the prana is being supplied to us all the time. What is the quality of the prana consumption in us will determine the kind of parashakti and aparashakti that you are activating at a personal level. That means if you're eating food, you're consuming it. If you're living the whole day, 24 hours, you're working hard, you're earning money, you're consuming it. You're thinking, you're reading books, you're entertaining yourself, you're going to a party. Everything is about consuming, 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 consuming. How much of parashakti is being generated by our being is directly proportional to the kind of evolution and spiritual growth you get in life. How much are you able to invoke the parashakti inside of you? It's directly proportional to how much spiritual growth you get. Otherwise, it is aparashakti and it is consumption of life completely. You have eaten food, you have consumed it, it has got converted into energy. You run, jog, you go to the gym, you finish that energy. Then you're reading storybooks, you're going for movies, you're going for parties, you're looking after your children, you're earning bread and butter, and everything is like in a consuming cycle. It's in the circle of consumption. You have to consume everything. Even if you earn more money than what is required, even then that money is again stored. You invest it and you store it again for your comforts and for consumption. So it's all the whole thought about life is about consuming energy, and the winner here is the Aparashakti. Parashakti watches. She works on your higher mind. Carefully listen. She works on your higher mind. Your mind is there. Your mind is a kind of a Shakti-driven instrument. It's a Shakti-driven instrument. The higher mind is driven by the Parashakti, and the lower mind is driven by the Aparashakti. The conscious mind is a battlefield and a playfield for both of them. Are you getting what I'm saying? Your conscious mind, that means this moment, both these are playing, and you have to make a choice to hold the hand of the Parashakti. How can you do that? In each moment, if you make a choice to hold the hand of Parashakti and not the Aparashakti, you have to make a conscious choice to let go of everything. Because the Aparashakti is a profound power that engrosses you. This is mine. This is mine. She is mine. He is mine. The ego is empowered by the Aparashakti. The ego is empowered by the Aparashakti. The mind is split into higher mind and lower mind, again controlled by these two Shaktis. Intellect is predominantly under the control of Parashakti. But because if the mind is loaded with the Aparashakti, then the intellect gets heavy and works with the mind. You understand? Memory is completely ruled by the Aparashakti. So you can imagine the war or the game is on 24/7. The game is on 24/7. You're constantly, unknowingly, ignorantly at the mercy of these two playing in you. Do we have a choice? Do we have a choice? And Shiva, who is the Paramatma, has given human beings these blessings of having free will and doing Purusharth. You're going to have a Purusharth class on the 4th day, 4 Purusharths for a woman. I'm very excited. I wish I could attend that. So human beings have this free will. What is this free will to be utilized for? The free will is not again another tool for the ego. No. It's not that, I have decided, I turned left, so I was a winner. If I would have turned right, I would have been a loser. Again, the I gets involved. Free will is not about I. Free will is for sadhana. Free will is to make conscious decision to be with the Parashakti. Free will is a conscious choice to be with the Parashakti. Free will is to consciously choose that which takes you higher. Free will is for taking all steps and consuming your time, utilizing the time in such a way that you're taking one evolutionary step every day by choice. That is what the free will is for. So, this trump card is given by consciousness to us that you have these two Shaktis playing. If Apara Shakti wins, what happens after death? You come back into the womb and you come back into the game. The game is preloaded with Apara Shakti. And if the Parashakti wins and you die as a sadhak, if the Parashakti wins and you die as a sadhak, then it comes preloaded, the next life comes preloaded with Parashakti leading and on a higher note. Isn't that, I mean, kitna bada game khel raha hai? What a big game and what a beautiful play is happening. And we are completely unaware. We've been tossed here and there with all these forces, completely unaware of what's going on. And we are only being consumed by the ego identity completely. And the prana consumption is going on absolutely without any awareness. So yogis who identify this game and who identify the play of the para and the parashakti, yogis by choice remain with the parashakti. Parashakti is pure. It's pure unconditioned consciousness in movement. Parashakti is pure unconditioned consciousness in movement, untainted, and can surpass the causal body. Can surpass the causal body. What is the causal body? Causal body is the sheath of karma, the carrier of karmas in your body. We have 3 levels of body in us. We have the gross body, the physical body that you can see and feel. We have the subtle body, which is your mind, intellect, equipment, and the energy system and the chakras. Yeah, that's a subtle body. And there's a third body called causal body. It's a layer that surrounds the soul. The Brahman which is there, the spirit which is there inside, the layer which is loaded with data of all your karmas in this life and past lives. This causal body travels with the soul life after life. When you die, then the soul departs. It leaves the body. Along with the soul goes the causal body. And then the soul comes into a new womb, into new life, into a new body, the causal body, the old causal body which has been traveling with him, enters into the new life, and now a new blueprint, a new destiny is chosen for the new human being. So when the soul goes into a new body, then the causal body is going with it. So every moment, whatever you're thinking and doing is registered in the causal body. When God designed this whole life and creation, and when He designed this Parashakti and Aparashakti game, He designed the human body in such a way that each human body is an independent, flawless machine where everything is automatically recorded in the causal body. Your every thought and every action is automatically registered, recorded in the data sheet that is the causal body. And there is no error there. There is no error there. It manifests as a reality. Your blueprint, whatever you're facing in your life, is all coming from your causal body. There's no flaw there. And who is monitoring the system? The soul himself, the Brahman himself sitting inside is monitoring the system, so there is no error. It goes as per the law of cause and effect. It plays, the destiny plays as per the law of cause and effect. Whatever you have done manifests into what will happen, either now or sometime later. Either now or sometime later. So within our study circles, we talk about all these things very, very often, but most of you are not in my study circle, so I can just see these two faces who are listening to me, and I know that this is something you've heard me umpteen number of times, but it needs a mention here. What is your causal body? Your causal body is like a big bag of, let's say, eggs. Big bag of eggs where there are so many eggs you have accumulated through many lifetimes. Now, in this lifetime, when you were to be born, your soul chooses a bundle of these eggs. You cannot manifest all the eggs in one life. So it will just randomly pick up eggs for them to be cooked for this life. And these eggs, some are bad, some are good, some are rotten, and some are very nice. All right, so randomly picking up things from the causal body into a design, what we call the blueprint of our life, becomes the story of your life. And in this lifetime, then you will have to eat some rotten eggs and some good eggs. These are randomly picked up particles from your causal body. The soul does that. Now, when we're talking about Parashakti and Aparashakti, Parashakti is pure consciousness in movement, and it is absolutely light and pro-consciousness. That's the game. It can surpass destiny many times. What we call grace, what we call just at the right time something happened and it happened. It just happened. What we call intuition, what we call grace, what we call just something divine intervened. That's Parashakti. So, Aparashakti will keep you involved and in creation of more karmas. Aparashakti will keep you involved, engrossed, and when the I is very active and you're doing activities without the awareness of the Parashakti or consciousness, that means you're not thinking of the divine through the day and you're just carrying the burden on your shoulders and working like a donkey or like a bull who is tied on a stump. You're just going round and round, round and round, round and round. Then you keep creating more and more karmas. And these karmas start getting accumulated in the causal body, good and bad, both. What good you do, you accumulate that. What bad you do, you accumulate that. And some of these manifest in this life itself as agami karmas, and some of these go into the future lives, depending on the quality of the seeds. The green lentil sprouts very soon, within a few hours, whereas the red big lentil takes a full day to sprout. So some seeds sprout very easily, and in this life itself you meet with the consequences, and you will recognize in this life when you meet with these karmas, you recognize, oh shit, I said something like this many years back to someone. I'm hearing it from someone now. You also realize it inside that I did something like this, and I'm experiencing the same thing now. And it often comes in the form of your children giving it back to you, or you hear within your inner circles something nasty that you said and you hear it back again, or you do something nasty that you did and you have to undergo it. So all said and done, the whole talk is about activating and keeping consciously alive the Parashakti and the higher mind. Now, the function of the mind, like I said, the three layers of the mind, the higher mind, the conscious mind, and the unconscious mind. Okay? Conscious mind is a free will space. Conscious mind is a free will space where I have the freedom this moment to let go of something. Say, for instance, somebody is misbehaving or saying something nasty with me. If there is Jnana Yoga that has enlightened my head, that is the purpose of Jnana Yoga. That is the purpose of all these classes, to enlighten your head and put it deep into your head that whatever you're experiencing in your life is your own creation, and you stop the blame game pointing fingers outside, and you stop the blame game pointing fingers even towards you. There is no blame game at all, and accepting life, whatever is coming in front of you. With this Jnana Yoga, when you come across any situation, your free will, that space, if you're able to drop it down, you have caught the hand of Parashakti and you've gone upward. And if you marinate in it and you experience that bitterness or that pain or that, whatever experience has been thrown at you, if you're marinating in it and thinking, churning it again and again, digesting it, masticating it like a cow again and again, then you are going to choose Aparashakti. And what does Aparashakti? She takes you more into ignorance, more into darkness. What does she do? She builds up certitude in your head about making judgments and making opinions and about deciding this is completely bad, this person is completely gone, or whatever. It takes you into the corridors of darkness where there is karma complication, where there is tremendous amount of karma complication. So our free will or conscious mind is that space in which we have to choose to let go. And we have to choose to accept. We have to choose to not be bitter. We have to choose to not be angry. The choices that you make in your conscious mind, moment to moment, increases or decreases your Parashakti association, which is pure consciousness and movement, and is pro-godly, and is pro-enlightenment, and is pro-liberation. And this moment, they say that these two Shaktis are playing. This is all a game. These two Shaktis are playing. So in this life, you can be liberated if you make conscious choices. And therefore, Mother said, prayer is the most profound tool. Mother is always insistent, prayer is the most profound tool, and you must pray. What should you pray? Not begging all the time to God for this not to happen, or this to happen, or to get this or not to get this. Prayers are not for begging. Prayers are to surrender and to give you the sadbuddhi, the intellect to make clear choices that are pro-evolution. Prayers are to make you aware and so present in the conscious mind that I'm able to make choices to let go, to drop down, and just to be and experience and take every experience as it's coming. It's unfolding from my causal. When you understand this with certitude, when this Jnana Yoga penetrates deep into your head, and you understand that everything is manifesting from my sheath, then where is the question of objecting it? Where is the question of even asking someone, why is the sickness come? Or why is this happen? How could this happen to me? How could he do this to me? These questions are coming from the Aparashakti game. When you do not understand the facts of your life, per se this game agreement, when you don't understand, then you are choosing the darkness and ignorance, and you fall more and more into creating karmas. You getting it? Now, even mundane activities every day. So many mundane activities we are doing from morning till evening. You take a bath, you take a shower, you light your lamp, you do your little bit of puja, or sit down and meditate for a while. You dress up, All of these activities, from mundane to octane to something very special that you do, they're all either oriented towards Parashakti or Aparashakti. We have some papers and pen with us. I want you to write down 10 things that you do from morning till night every day. All right? And what is your thought behind that action? So when you write down 10 things that you do from morning till night, for instance, I get ready and go for my work. I want you to write with that, what is your thought when you do that? I clean my body, I take a bath, let's say. I take a shower. What do you think when you take a shower? And I sit down and have my breakfast quickly, looking at my phone, looking at my mobile, checking messages. I have to rush to the office. If something like that happens, write that down. What is the thought when you do that? 10 things that you do from morning till night with the thought that goes with that activity. When you're in the office or when you're on your workstation, you're working, what do you think? What mode or what state of mind are you in? Are you already thinking about what you're going to do when you go back home, or are you involved in your work, in your productivity? You want to do your best because you want to outshine. Are you in a competition, or are you in that isness of working? I just want to do my best. You go to the gym, you go to the yoga class, you go with the idea that I want to become slimmer, I want to be more healthier, or do you go with the idea that this body is a temple and I wish to keep this temple clean and healthy? When you sit and do your prayers and upasana, when you're doing your pranayama, or when you're doing your meditation, do you all the time do it with the idea that I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to grow? The hunger. Hunger is a parashakti. Desire is a parashakti. Hunger and desire is aparashakti. Gratitude and letting go is parashakti. Right? So whatever points you have written down now, just evaluate these points and write A for what is related to a detached activity which is full of energy. A detached activity which is full of energy and enthusiasm, give it an A mark. And a B mark if it is an attached activity for something that you want, for something that you want as a result, or for something that you want as a change or a profit. And a C if it is completely a negative feeling. A C mark if it is completely a negative feeling in the sense, I have to work, so I'm working. What do I do if I don't do a job? I don't get money. If I'm not going, I have to rush to the office because I have to just get out of the house. This is all a mess. My life is all a mess. It's all a confusion. This is a C category. All right. So your activities, if they're based on A, B, and C, and calculate how many A's you have, calculate how many B's you have, calculate how many C's you have. A is the Parashakti, which will take you upward. B is the Aparashakti, that will consume. It will consume you. That means it's a waste of time. And C, is a Aparashakti which is the densest. Even in the Aparashakti, you have one that is Para-Parashakti, we say, Para-Aparashakti, together. It consumes. But the Aparashakti, which is of the C category, it completely takes you downward and creates karma complication and creates intense lessons to be learned in future lifetimes or this lifetime. So identify if there is any A, B, and C. If there are more A's, there's no need to tell me. If there are more A's, you're doing good, and the number of A's should increase. How do you increase the number of A's? Be more conscious of all these things that you're doing. Be more conscious from now on of all these things you're doing. Add a prayer to every activity. That's a suggestion my Gurudev gave me. My Gurudev gave me he said, add a prayer to everything that you do. Automatically the quality of the prana generated, every activity is generating prana, right? It's generating energy. The quality of the energy generated when you do a prayer, small prayer, even if you say Om, it's enough. Even if you just begin your activity with Om, it's enough. You're shifting consciously from the lower to the higher mind. You're shifting consciously from the lower to the higher mind. Small something, small mantra, small prayer, small something, or even the thought of, I want to be with the Parashakti. Even that will uplift and will change the dynamics of, your work quality. So B is consuming, it's a waste. B is consuming, that's a waste. That means you're utilizing the prana that is generated out of your meditation or out of your food or whatever God is providing, you're just consuming it. You're just consuming it. It does not take you upward, it doesn't take you downward. But the C category to be eradicated completely. If there is any C category, that needs to be eradicated completely, because that creates karma complication and it creates lessons to be learned in this life or future life. And it will keep calling and it will keep attracting more and more events in your life that will give you those intense ripples of the Aparashakti. Intense ripples of the Aparashakti. A karmic complication that comes because of your unaware doings. Karmic complication that comes because of your unaware doing is very intense, and it makes you exhausted and drained. It makes you very exhausted and drained. It's not because the prana wants to penalize you. The prana wants you to learn. So whenever you get experiences in your life that are draining you, and that oh my God, how long do I have to bear up with such a relationship kind of a situation, then it's calling. It's like a knocking from inside to contemplate and to understand that, am I taking mentally too much of a pressure out of this interaction? You need to evaluate this on the spiritual basis to understand whether you are invoking the Aparashakti Consciously you're invoking the Parashakti by rewinding and washing the old dishes again and again and again, by revisiting all the old events of the life again and again and again, and marinating in that memory again and again and again. You are choosing a Parashakti in that moment. If you evaluate every situation wisely, then you can shift from the lowest category to at least the B category. And if you make that a practice, all your activities can escalate to the A category, which means that you will become Parashakti active person, the divine feminine. The divine, even the Aparashakti is divine feminine, but she is given birth to asuras and to daityas and to, So, what are the asuras in you? These are all the asuras. What happens when you are predominantly at the mercy of the Aparashakti? What happens? Because she nourishes the unconscious, she nourishes the unconscious, she supports ignorance, she supports your perception senses. Your senses are being geared by the Aparashakti. Now that is interesting. That means that blue color and the black color that you want to see in a person, you immediately wear those goggles. Your perception is predominantly at the mercy of the Aparashakti. Your perception and all your senses. That means that when you're having a wrong, let's say, a relationship with a person or a wrong interaction in a particular situation, you will choose to load your eyes with that color again and again. And you will refuse to look through that color. You understand? You don't want to look at the other side of it. You don't want to evaluate it. Your perception, you're so sure and holding tight to that a lifetime can go thinking about that particular person or a situation negatively. A whole life can be consumed. Right? So prayers or an invocation before every activity is important. That will hold the hand of the Parashakti, and it will give your senses a chance to look at the middle ground somewhere, and also many times beyond. It will give you what does Parashakti do? Parashakti can divinize your intellect. Parashakti is the higher mind. She controls the higher mind. When the higher mind doors and windows open, you can download a lot of Rit. Rit is the intelligence of the universe. You can download help from the cosmos. And where does this download? Where does this Rit download? Where does this help from the other realm download? It downloads on your brain. It downloads on your buddhi and the faculty, the brain being the physical organ. It downloads there and it divinizes the brain. Divinizing the brain means you will now think again about that situation which you were so sure was that red color or blue color. You will think about it in the middle ground, and maybe your right understanding can dissolve that complication forever. Yes.
So when I was marking the activities, what I noticed that in a lot of the activities I put A where the activity I like. But of course there are activities also we have to do as a duty.
Yes.
So if we mark the activity with A which we like, then is that Aparashakti? We are strengthening that Aparashakti, and the prayer helps us to stay away from the likes and dislikes and the doership?
When we talk about activities, there are activities that you love to do, then there are activities that you have to do as obligations, and there are activities that you out of ignorance do. Say for instance, you don't like to go to a pub or party at night, you might want to sleep early, but you come under the peer pressure or the pressure of your friends, and everybody is going for a party, so I'm going for a party. This is an act of ignorance where you're not able to understand, do I really want to do it or not? Many times you're smoking because everybody is smoking, I also like to smoke. Or you might just sit in a gossip, sit down and keep bitching about somebody, and you're involved in that, and you're putting some more tomato sauce in that. And so acts of ignorance that are, you're just doing them out of peer pressure or out of complete ignorance. They fall in the C category. They fall in the C category. So in your dharma, that means your obligatory activities, even if you don't like them, they will fall in the B category because they consume your energy. So when you're doing your dharmic activities, that means your obligatory duties as a mother, as a daughter, as a officer in a, then you do start with a prayer or start with a small invocation, then you can uplift the quality of that activity upward. Yeah?
One more question. Yesterday you were saying that any interaction with any other person, you should feel that the other person also has the divine in itself.
Yes.
So that's how you should behave with them. And the same thing you told today, the para and the parashakti.
Well, yeah, same thing about, but it's easily said than done. This thing that you said, that how can you think if somebody is really an abusive person, for instance, and completely ignorant and violent, how can you think that, oh, he's godly, he's a godly person, and how can you do that? So wisdom demands that in a normal conversation, you have the presence of God should be kept in the mind all the time. And there is a practical reality, gross reality, the ground floor reality, I call it. There you can distance from people whose behavior is ungodly. God is there, Brahman is there in the heart of everybody, even a terrorist, even a murderer, even a rapist. He's got Brahman in his heart. However, the aparashakti and the huge causal body that he's carrying has got colors that are distasteful or that are misguiding or ignorant completely. So at the ground floor, reality goes with buddhi. Your behavior in the world at the ground floor, that means in the gross world, should go with your buddhi, should go with your logic, should go with your intelligence. Your mind should function with God consciousness and awareness, letting go. That means even if you have a not tolerable person in front of you and you're distancing yourself, you have the freedom to not hate him in the mind.
But there are practical situations like working, you have to, sometimes in the family also, you deal with narcissistic personalities. You can't distance also. Because you are working so closely.
Forbearance, tolerance, titiksha and shraddha. These are the Vedantic terms. Forbearance, tolerance, as long as you're it's like you're tied, somebody's put a belt around your neck and you're tied to a leash and you have to be there. You don't have the freedom to walk out of that space. Then forbearance, tolerance, shraddha. Shraddha is faith, prayers and faith. And the prayers and faith should not be to destroy the other person. Prayers and faith should be to uplift your mind to see the positive in the person. And let people play their narcissist role or their destructive role. Nothing touches you when you activate Shakti inside of you. Nothing will touch you, believe you me. Nothing will touch you when you activate the Shakti inside you and when you remain with your faith. Point number one, nothing can happen to you in this world which is not a part of your causal body. If it is in your causal body, somebody can harm you. And if the harm comes to you, understand it's manifesting from within me, just move on. Drop it and move on. Accept it, drop it, move on. There's no dead end anywhere. There is no dead end anywhere. If there is a dead end, it's always in the mind. Yeah, it's always in the mind. You think that you're stuck because you're stuck in the so prayers are a powerful tool, believe you me. Prayers are a powerful tool. You surrender your mind and intellect at the feet of the divine every day. That can really make a profound difference in the way you think. So coming back to the Parashakti, Parashakti is that tool that will take you into God consciousness, into Paramatma over a period of time. And as long as you're there with the Parashakti, she's pure consciousness, so she's Brahman itself. She's Brahman itself. She's moving with you. You see, Brahman cannot do anything. We say, you see, when you hear of some disasters in the world, we hear about, people shooting down madly at 50 people or burning down something. And we hear of these absolute horrible acts and we wonder, where is God? A lot of people ask, where is God? How could such a thing happen? Massacres and horrible things. So consciousness is like the light. Light. Consciousness is like light. It does not do anything. It will just show you everything. The light, if I throw garbage over here, is the light going to become dim? The light is not going to become dim. The light is going to shine as bright as it is. If I have garbage in this room, then it will show the garbage. If I have flowers in this room, it will show the flowers. Consciousness just empowers whatever is there in the causal body. There is an individual causal body, all of us have. My story, your story, we all have individual causal body, and there is a collective causal body. That means all our bodies put together, there is a collective causal body of this Vaishwanara. I spoke about the Vaishwanara yesterday, There's a collective causal body. That means there's a collective destiny of this country, of this universe, of this earth. All right? This collective destiny is like a causal body of the whole earth, and consciousness will empower it. So when it empowers it, there are horrible things that are happening over here. They're in the causal body, they're happening. And we all are a part of it. Believe you me, if there's something disastrous happening anywhere in some other remote country of the world, I am very much a part of it. We are a part of this whole quantum field. Our collective destiny, the collective destiny of the universe, of the earth, we are contributors to that. What I think, what I do is adding to the causal body of the universe. So we all are responsible for whatever is happening. And when we understand that this was destined, what is the free will that you have? How can you hold the hand of Parashakti in such a calamity? Prayers and meditation. Prayers and meditation will consciously raise levels of consciousness and will create, it contributes to the whole. There are Babas and there are sadhus and there are rishis sitting in the caves along the Ganga where I live. We go ahead in the hills, up in the higher Himalayas, you see there are sadhus and Babas sitting there and they're meditating. And a logical person would question, what is this guy doing here? Sitting here, he's wasting his life. And there are so many things to do in the world. He's escaping and sitting there in the mountains, one would think. My Gurudev used to say that even if 10 rishis sit together and pray or they meditate, they can uplift the consciousness of 1 million people. The ill doings and the wrongdoings of 1 million people can be erased by even 10 rishis sitting and meditating. That is the power of meditation and prayers. Okay? So when the collective things are happening, disasters are happening, you should hold the hand of Parashakti. That's why we have in our tradition such beautiful invocations of the Devis. Such beautiful invocations of the Devis. You have the Khadgamala, you have Lalita Sahasranam, you have the Mahishasur Mardini, and so many beautiful stotras. And, what are they for? They're not for entertainment. They're not for spiritual entertainment that make you feel a high that, I'm spiritually growing. No. They are for invoking the energy of the Shakti. If you invoke the energy of the Shakti and you're consciously holding the hands of the higher Shakti and not the lower Shakti. Even acts of violence and ignorance are supported by the Devi. Shakti is supporting. Without Shakti support, nothing is happening. Then one would wonder, what is this Shakti who is supporting all the disasters in the world? Or disasters individually in your life? Yeah? What is this Shakti? How can I call her a Devi? How can I? Well, she's energy. She's energy. Parashakti and Aparashakti are energy. One that supports ignorance, other that supports your growth. It's your choice because it's a game God is playing and you are given the freedom to choose whose hand you want to hold. If you're going and holding the hand of darkness again and again, nobody is going to save you. You don't have to hold the hand of darkness again and again. You have to choose to hold the hand of that which takes you higher. So your mind transcendence. Your mind transcendence is one of the important things that these Shaktis, do. The Parashakti will transcend and take you to higher mind. When you get used to tapping into the higher mind, what happens? What happens when you get used to it? Like for instance, we have people, the sadhaks are there, those who do sadhana every day. You consciously do it every day. You're praying, doing your meditation, lighting lamps, singing the glory, going to the samadhi, sitting there in silence, surrendering at the feet of the mother, you're doing all these activities, what happens? Your higher mind gets active and starts dominating the lower mind. The unconscious mind then becomes inactive slowly. Slowly, it doesn't happen one day. Slowly, the unconscious mind stops dominating and dictating terms. If it starts to rise, the higher mind has already geared up so much that it will push this down. It will push this down, yes.
Sorry, if I understand it right. So normally, what I know in my knowledge, mind, which is conscious, is just a very little part of it. And we are often governed by the subconscious. So is that what you said just now? I just want to make sure that if we raise enough the conscious mind, then the subconscious will clear, or how to say?
Yes, there are two things that you have said rightly, that for most of the ignorant people, conscious mind is very little. They are guided and guarded and pushed by their unconscious mind as a matter of habit of thinking, as a matter of, just thinking, unconsciously thinking. But when you become aware of this science, then you become more dwelling in the conscious mind, which we say the power of now, which we say the be in the now. Be in the now, which is a very difficult thing to do because unconsciously we are guided by the lower mind all the time. So when you become aware only, you start living in the now. Higher than that, if you divinize that moment of living in the now, that means you chant something, say something, wish for something to take you higher. Now you've gone to the third level. First level is what you said, that an ignorant man lives very little in the conscious and is mostly guided by the unconscious. 100% correct. The aware man starts living more in the conscious, where his free will is predominant and he has a choice to be what he wants to be. Third level is when you divinize this conscious moment, the Parashakti uplifts you and takes you higher. Then you are guided by the higher mind. What is the higher mind? The higher mind has windows and gateways of the cosmos. The higher mind has windows and gateways of the cosmos where all the realms and dimensions open up and can pour into the higher mind. People who are seers and soothsayers, people who are in the flow of intuition, they are in the flow of surrender and serenity. They have the windows and doors of their high mind open, and they channel information, they channel wisdom, they channel energy. What happens when your higher mind becomes predominant, the 3 steps that we just now spoke about, the doors and windows of your high mind will open and you'll be guided, guarded, and led on to the path of enlightenment, because now you're already under the tutelage of the Parashakti. Now you have made a choice to be under the tutelage of the Parashakti. She will guide you, guard you, and take you into enlightenment. The Aparashakti, now it's a game. It's a game. So she takes a back seat and she says, okay, you're winning. You're winning. Take the baton. And at any time you falter and you fall back into your old habits, the baton comes back into the Aparashakti's hand. And you're again led by her, you're again led by the unconscious. Isn't it so crystal clear? Yeah? So crystal clear. Yes?
Mark?
Yeah.
Would it be right if I put it that in our daily life, when we come across situations, when we react, we are using Aparashakti. When we respond, we are consciously Parashakti. And when we divinize that by surrendering that action to the Paramatma, then it's at a...
It's a Parashakti, yes.
Parashakti.
100% correct. 100% correct. Understood by the brain, but very difficult to bring it in practice.
I have a question. So we talked about those qualities of forbearance, tolerance, Shraddha. So at which point does courage also become that divine quality? Because sometimes, there is a part tolerance plays, but then there is a point where courage is actually the divine quality.
I understand what you're saying. So when there is titiksha, forbearance, titiksha, shraddha there, then surrender becomes an automatic quality. You are able to surrender. The courage is then the courage of the Devi and not mine. I have done very courageous acts in my life, I can tell you. And I'm a very timid person otherwise. You know, I would sit back, lay back, and wait for things to happen and hammer me. You know, but I've done courageous acts, bold acts in my life. And when I look back, I understand that's the courage of the Devi, not mine. So a surrendered person has the courage of the Devi. You're not minus courage. Never minus courage. Your forbearance, tolerance takes you to the Parashakti. Your surrender takes you to the Parashakti. She knows when to be courageous, when to make you courageous. So it's not the ego that becomes courageous. It's not the I that becomes courageous. It's the power of courage itself that will channel through you. You see in movies, sometimes you see in movies, they show stories about how a very timid girl or a very, weakling, she suddenly becomes like a Mahishasur Mardini, and she, in movies and in stories you see. So that kind of a courage is channeled. It's channeled. Courage is channeled through you. So you don't have to consciously be courageous. You become the fire. You don't have to practice touching the fire.
When you're away from these sermons, like, suppose for 1 year you're not able to attend any lectures or something, but you're doing your prayers.
Yeah.
But then the influence of the normal world overrides.
Yes.
And they all tell about more the Aparashakti parts are
Correct.
Like, you are stupid. No, it does not work like that. Life does not go on like that. What will you gain in that?
Yeah.
So, and slowly that surmounts this knowledge. And you start flowing in the way, people are downloading things on us. So what is the guard for that?
Yes. You have to make conscious choices at some point or the other in your life. Journey is all about, the soul journey. You're alone. Your journey is alone. Our journeys all are alone. Fortunate are those people who get, who enter into partnerships with people, families, where everybody is in a synchronous kind of a journey. Very, very few people. Most of us are walking alone, moving alone. My imagination and analogy always go to like free-floating balloons in the air. We are like balloons in the air, freely going upward. All of us are going upward. Sometimes some threads get entangled and 2 balloons are flying together. Or 3, 4 balloons together as a family are moving upward. But if the movement is upward, then it's okay to fly entangled in the threads. But if the movement is downward, then you at some point have to open up the thread and let your movement go upward. So you have to make choices in your life in the long run if you want to be with, your own spiritual growth. And if you don't want to open up threads, then be sure of what you're doing and keep your movement upward. Be sure of it. I've gone through all these situations that you talk about. There was a point when I just said, I'm not coming for a movie at night. My family used to go for a late night movie every Friday. New movie, new theater every day. I just put my foot down one day. I said, I want to go to sleep at 8:30. I'm not coming with you. That's it. You can carry me sleeping if you want to. So you put your foot down and pursue your upward journey to the best you can. And opening threads is not always important.
Coming back to Mother and Sri Aurobindo and their very Gnostic approach, that the para and apara,
Yes.
right? And in the morning, Gitanjali talked about the first when pure consciousness wanted to experience, it became the 4 great, the first gods. But then they went without connection to the oneness. And then they fell and became the opposite of each. So in a way, the para version of each became the apara. So life became death, love became hate, suffering, all these things appeared. So these are the 4 great asuras, in a way, the dark lords who rule us.
Yes.
And Mother Sri Aurobindo's great work was about transformation and conversion of those 4 great lords to come back into the
Yes.
in each of us to be able. Apparently, 2 of them converted, but 2 are still out there moving through us. My question is, this is a game. So what is the I have my sense of what it is. You've taught us before, but for the sake of the group, what is the purpose of the game? In the sense, the asura has a purpose.
Yeah.
What is that purpose in the evolution? Because Mother says eventually, once that purpose is served, it'll get dissolved because its work is done.
It does.
So the apara also has a purpose.
Yes.
So if you can talk a little bit
Apara
about
is engrossing. I mean, talking good about the apara, like I said, we need not, say that it is dark. Yeah, there is a purpose. The purpose is engrossment. All the multiplicity that you see in the world, the engrossing multiplicity that you see in the world, including your attachment for the children, the love that you have for your partner, the juices of life, the entertainment, the fragrances, the taste buds, and all of this is Apara Shakti. Apara Shakti is engrossing. Now, when we talk about it as a game only, we understand this and can justify in the head what is the purpose of this entire stupidity, if I may use the word. Yeah. So when I say it's a game, well, it's a game of cards. Why should I, if I have to lose, why should I play? If I have to win also and again lose, then why should I play? Why should I play the game at all? So to keep it all engrossed and to keep his own entertainment and to explore the creativity and potential, consciousness itself is moving. The divine consciousness, Paramatma itself is moving to greater heights of his own creativity. To greater heights of his own creativity, it is exciting to see this creation evolving for him. Oh, I can do this also. Oh, even this can happen. The technology, the mankind, and all of these new species that are being born. We know species that are becoming extinct, but we also know species that are being born. So many new species are being born. We say that even a virus there is mutation happening all the time and there is change happening all the time. So all of this new creation is entertaining him and he's exploring the heights and the limits of his own creation. How more beautiful can human beings become? The growth itself is a motivating factor for consciousness to keep the game on. Our rishis have spoken about pralay, and we have spoken about the kalpas and about, Sri Aurobindo Mother have also spoken about number of cycles, that. Yeah. So all that apart, a simple understand that my baby brain can understand is it's entertaining him and it's motivating. The game itself is so encouraging and motivating. You ask a kid who is playing a video game to stop it and come home and eat food, he doesn't want to stop. He wants to keep, even if he's losing, he wants to play, I'll play 2 more games. I will win. Then he wants to another try. It can go on and on. We do it with the reels. Don't you do it? 5 minutes aur kar lete hain. 5 minutes more. And you want to see something else and something else. So it's entertainment and motivating by itself. The purpose of creation is exploration of the fathomless possibilities that can arise out of consciousness. And consciousness itself is evolving to greater and greater heights. What is the end of it? We don't know.
So you can also say that the purpose of the apara is to provide the counterpoint to the para's continuous evolution.
100% correct. It's a seesaw. It's like a seesaw. She gives you the other end of it. And that's how the game is engrossing. We have heard of civilizations that do not survive if they are only in the sattva. We've heard of civilizations that cannot survive without the black and the white. So the game goes on because of that. She is a balancing factor, an engrossing factor, and the coloring factor, and the factor that is most liked by everyone. Everyone likes to be in attachment, in love, in engrossed juices of life, the earning. I asked that the other day in the class, why doesn't anybody have an aspiration to become a rishi? Buddha, there's a story, Buddha one day announced, he was traveling through a village and he announced one day that I will give liberation. Come here at 5 o'clock in the morning. Whoever wants to be liberated forever from the cycle of birth and death. Nobody turned up. Nobody turned up because everybody wants to live and live beautifully. Even the spiritual aspirants here in this hall, we want to live and live beautifully. Who wants to die right now and not be born again? Am I right?
I can share, it may be useful, I don't know. I share like a perception of the game.
Yeah.
Like, I think like when we play the game enough, and for me, it's a drama game. When you had enough, it's not entertaining enough. You like to be in the calmness and the peace of the light. So
Yeah,
the choice become easy because
that's,
you
when-
don't feel it's
Yeah, when
fun
we
anymore.
when we play the game, sometimes you say, "Time, please. I want to sit down."
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We just say, "Time, please. I want to sit down for a while." But you want to get up again and again, play the game.
Yeah.
Even the great sadhaks who have attained nirvikalsa, they are here and they are playing their role.
Of course,
They don't immediately leave, no?
of course,
They are, here
100%.
they are here to fulfill the divine mission.
The absolute plane
Yeah,
of the
here.
the absolute plane of the Brahma, the absolute plane of the Brahma, even the Rudra Lok, the Brahma Lok, and we have these lokas. In the highest of the lokas also there are 3 levels. In the Brahma Lok also there are these ascended masters and masters who die. They still be there. They don't want to dissolve back into consciousness. They want to be there to be still guiding. People, we have ascended masters, Shirdi Sai Baba is there, Mahatar Babaji is there, and so many gurus and teachers that we know that they are from the subtler realm, guiding us all, giving darshan to people. They still want to be involved in the game. You're right, absolutely. So, the 2 paths that are, that fall under the category of liberation, the 2 paths that are spoken by the Indian tradition, by the Vedantic Indian tradition, talk about a dark path and a bright path. It talks about a bright path and a dark path. The kind of upasana and the kind of meditation and the kind of sadhana all of you do, it falls either on the bright path or on the dark path. Okay? We say it is either nirguna upasana or saguna upasana. Nirguna upasana means people who meditate on the light, they are not particularly believing in any god or goddess, or they are just meditating and focusing on the light and meditating every day, understanding in their head that this is what is meditation, and they're experiencing growth day by day. Nirguna upasana. Nirguna upasana is purest of the upasana, however very difficult. Indian teachers have always said that this is very difficult unless you have entered into a sannyasa marga. Nirguna upasana is very difficult. Unless you become a monk where you don't have any distractions and attachment, nirguna upasana is very difficult. And true that, because it distracts, your mind is distracted. If you're in a worldly activity, then nirguna upasana is very difficult. However, if you are in nirguna upasana, then you will get the right guru and the shastras, the right guru and the wisdom of the shastra. And you can be liberated from the cycles of birth and death while you're still alive. And you can be Jivan Mukta. That means no vagaries, no hiccups of life will touch you. Like we've had Raman Maharshi, like we've had, there is no karma playing. They are in a conscious flow of time, every moment to moment, completely nirlipta. Nothing is crawling like a swan, like a lotus living. No drop of water sticks to the body. Jivan Mukta, therefore, is a person who has attained and realized while still in the body. The other path, the dark path, here the dark path are normally sagun upasaks. However, sagun upasana means that there is a deity or a god that I dedicate. I have made an icon for Paramatma, like I am a Ganesh upasak, or you're a Devi upasak, or you're a Shiva bhakta, or you have a Krishna bhakti. Sagun upasaks also fall in 2 categories. Nishkam sagun upasana and sakam sagun upasana. Nishkam means I don't have any desire, I only have love for my God and I'm doing my upasana every day. Nishkam Sagun Upasana means I don't have any kind of a desire. I don't want this and that. I'm not asking for a list of things from my God every day. I'm just surrendering for the love of the God every day. This Nishkam Sagun Upasana goes into Krama Mukti and gets liberated. Krama Mukti means they say that the soul after it dies goes into a realm where he receives knowledge from Brahma himself and they are liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Sagun Upasak, Sakam Sagun Upasak, that means people who are doing Upasana of the Devi or the Shiva for this or that, or for Siddhis, or for any kind of desires, they go, even they are rewarded. If you do Upasana of any kind, that means if you are doing sadhana or practices of any kind, you will be rewarded, for sure. How do they get rewarded? They accumulate a lot of punya points, positive karma points, because of the upasana they are doing. They go to a middle level, antariksh or heaven. The soul, when it dies, when the person dies, he goes into the middle level and is reborn on earth to enjoy the glories of the earth. So he is reborn into a very rich family, or like a star, or like a prodigy, or like a famous person, and he enjoys the glories of stardom and earth. So understand that all the people who are rich and famous here on the earth have all come back bringing the karma points from the heaven and are enjoying the earthly realm. What happens to them afterwards? They get again involved in complications of the earth. They get again involved in the complications of the earth because they have individual stories and they are born ignorant. They are not born knowledgeable. They are born ignorant. The wheel of ignorance falls down again. When you are born on earth, the wheel of ignorance falls down again and you are again kept away from wisdom and knowledge and glory that was very much yours on life before. But you asked for a kamana, you asked for a desire, and you were granted, and you come back on the earth to cherish life on earth. They have to go through the cycle again of growth and evolution. So 3 categories I spoke about just now. Vis-a-vis your question, what is Jivan Mukti? Jivan Mukti is when you get Jnana Yoga and when you are self-realized and when you understand, have answers to all the questions under the sky, and there is unquestioned acceptance of life and no aberration of life is touching you. Nothing oscillates your mind. Your smile is constant, like Nitin Bharadwaj's smile as Sri Krishna in Mahabharata. You see the constant smile on the face for whatever is happening. Even if there is death, that smile is not going. That is a Jivan Mukta who is living in the body, but nothing is touching him. Ji.
Then does it mean that the ultimate goal is going out of the cycles of the birth and death? If it is so, then why all this earth, why all this cosmos, why all this?
You can take time, please, and tell God that I don't want to play the game. When the soul separates from the divine consciousness, when the soul separates from the divine consciousness, it makes a promise to God that I am ready to participate in your game unquestioned. You made a promise. And so we have to play the game. That is the rule. You are on the wrestling ring, you can't jump out of the ring.
Yes, that's what I am telling. So, can it be the going out of the cycles of birth and death? Is it the ultimate goal? That's my question.
That has been my question also all my life. Because there is no testimony to whoever has got liberated. Has he really got liberated, or has he come in your form and my form? You see, there is no testimony. The rishis say that. It is Rishi Vakya. And Rishi Vakya is Shruti Vakya. It is Brahma's Vakya. So we take it to be the truth. It remains my question still, just like you. However, the Rishi says that you get liberated and that is the ultimate goal. To merge back into the divine consciousness and tell him, I'm not playing anymore. I am become you, because you become Brahma then. You become the Brahman. What happens to a drop of water which goes back into this glass? Now where is the drop of water? I can't find it. Because it has become one with the water. So that I, which wants to track whether will I be born again, that I only is destroyed. It has become one with the Brahman. It has become one with the God. Now it is there, not there only. So there's no tracking. No rebirth. Yeah, yeah.
This is something you shared on in your course, Ma.
Yes.
But I think it speaks to the apara experience.
Yes, it does. It does.
So just to say, we may have kamana to ask for something, or we want to get out of the apara and we want to call upon the para. How can we do it in a way that then becomes good for all?
Yes. So they say that Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. Krishna's shloka in Bhagavad Gita says that if you are dedicating all your actions to me and taking the role of the higher doer on the earth, then what you need and what you don't need becomes my personal responsibility. So a kamana which is for the good of all, again one has to be very conscious that it is not ego-oriented kamana, that I want to leave my footprints on earth. I find that a very big stupidity. Why should I leave my footprints on earth? Correct? Because there you want to put your signature and go. You see, so when we take up bigger roles, you have to learn the art of letting go of all that you have done. Like how mother used to say this, mother has done that and she has shown us the path. You take bigger roles and you just do it and leave it. And that kamana will be embraced by God and supported by the Parashakti. And then it takes you into Jivan Mukti also. You'll find the right knowledge, right wisdom, you learn your lessons right. Somebody even in politics or in cricket or in music, and when they touch the higher levels of principles, values and higher doing for the society, even some very benevolent good people, they have God realization. They become God realized in the course of their nishkam doing. When they are consciously surrendering every act that they're doing for God's sake and not letting their ego pile on, then they become Jivan Mukt as well. That's a path of Karma Yoga. That becomes the path of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they merge. We'll talk more about it tomorrow because we have the 3-number romance tomorrow, So, so the culmination of these 3 yogas happens automatically. So somebody who is working on such higher dreams and desire and surrendering these desires to the Lord for giving, shape to it or size to it, when you surrender and when you do every moment, for the doing is surrendered every moment, then it becomes pure Karma Yoga. Bhakti will automatically dawn in your heart and Jnana will automatically shine on your brain.
Inevitably, conflicts happen, things happen, we may even slip and so on, right?
Yes.
So then what is the way out? When we lose the presence in that moment, we know what we have to do, but we will keep losing. We are not masters yet, right?
Yeah.
So the role of forgiveness, for example.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can.
Our regular practices are anti-skidders. We don't skid. Whatever happens, you stay afloat. There's a very beautiful story that I find very hilarious. It may be very stupid, but a bus was, going on the hill path, and the bus falls down in the valley, and everybody dies. There was just one man who survived. And the whole media was thronging to him, how did he survive? What was his modus operandi? What did he do? How did you survive? And they interviewed him. They came to interview him. And he was very embarrassed and feeling very shy. And he said, should I tell you the truth? So he said, I was drunk. And he said, when the bus was falling like this, I was falling like this. When it was falling like this, I was falling like this. I didn't know what happened. I don't know how I survived. So when you're drunk in the bhakti rasa, he said, when you're drunk in the bhakti rasa, I feel that life may toss you anywhere. You will never skid. You'll never skid. You will be saved in every way. So the apara and parashakti, you rightly said, choices made every moment. To be able to make this choice, also I need to submit to the divine. That's why, for instance, the Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra says that Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, the invocations of the Vyahirati, then Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Divinize my intellect, I'm calling that light. I'm invoking that Tatsavitur means that Surya or that light. I'm inviting that light that shine upon my intellect and make it so bright that my every action I am going upward and not downward. In Hindi they say, मेरे बुद्धि कर्म को शुभ प्रेरणा कर अपनी ओर ले चलो. So when we do invocations, our daily practices, these invocations are enough for us to assist us in those moments where we have to make choices to catch the para. And apara, like I said, has to be cherished. Apara is not to be hated. You see, you can savor the colors of the world, the beautiful fragrances of the world, the love and the sweetness of your children, the love and the sweetness of your neighbors, the fights that people are having. You can be in constant savoring the apara Shakti, but be with the Parashakti. That's the Jivan Mukta. That you're appreciating the game, you're loving the game, you're sitting and seeing everything from a very, very large distance. The game is widespread everywhere. For instance, you hear of some news, you take that news also to be a part of the game. You don't have to take everything so seriously and customize everything and personally process everything in your ego and your brain. You don't have to.
So in Sri Aurobindo's yoga, finally it's all life is yoga.
Yes.
And then remember and offer, right? So in every moment, whatever happens, just you have to give it back to her.
Yes.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yes.
And get bogged down.
Yeah.
Give it back to her.
Give it back and as an offering. Life has to be lived as an offering. Life as an offering to whom? To this one who is conducting the game. So when you're doing something good, you just look back and see, I did it. And when you fall down and when you're crying, just say that, okay, I've fallen down and I'm crying. So when this acknowledgement is giving back, and also the rewards of what you win. The rewards of what you win, your productivity, your own talent, give it back to her. And it's very exciting, it's very exhilarating, very satisfying when you do that. Each moment when you know what you have to offer, you so happily give it. It's like, I love to cook food, I cook and I feed people. It makes me very happy. It's like that. If you know how to paint, you paint and give it to people. You know how to sing music, don't stop yourself. You should be unstoppable at expressing your love to the divine. Unstoppable. And that would consciously put you on the para journey, And the Parashakti itself is consciousness. So Jivan Mukti, taking consciously the choices every day. When you're praying to God to divinize the intellect, that means that I should be able to be aware in that moment to make that choice. I should be aware in that moment to make that choice, to let go. Somebody's hurting you, you're crying. At that moment, that awareness should dawn into you that let go. Drop it. You're getting angry, somebody's triggering anger into you. Become aware at that moment that I'm getting angry. The me in me that watches the me all the time, I spoke about it yesterday. The me in me that watches the me, when you go out of your body and say, don't get angry now, it's okay. Let that me tell me that don't get angry, it's okay. Or don't cry, it's enough. 1 liter water has gone already. No more required, So the awareness in that moment is his kripa. Is the kripa, is the grace that showers on you because you're praying every day, because you're doing your sadhana every day. The awareness will come to you. It is absolutely the rule of the game, that if somebody is a sadhak, if somebody is doing sadhana, then he gives you that awareness. The witnessing consciousness is a product of sadhana. So only intellectual grazing, coming back to the Para and Apara Shakti. Only intellectual grazing and understanding about this and knowing, oh, so I know there are these two Shaktis. I know she controls the higher mind. I know she controls the low mind is not enough. Diving into it, exploring it, and watching yourself. Journaling is, that's why a good thing. Westerners do it a lot. Indians do mantra sadhana and naam smaran. That's a very good, Indians are used to writing Ram, 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 Ram. Many pages they will write. Thousands of pages, 1 crore times they'll write. That is also another way of letting go. When in the evening, when you fill up a page writing the divine name, it's like letting go. In the name of the Lord, everything gets dissolved. So there are a number of ways in which you can activate the Parashakti within you and around you. Even around you. You're the magnetic field. What is inside of you creates the aura that you're carrying, and those are the kind of people that you'll attract. So if you're consciously holding Parashakti and dwelling in the higher mind, you will get people who are of that frequency and resonance. You will attract those people, and slowly, steadily, you will become you'll come in the divyata of your surroundings, slowly, steadily. Doesn't happen overnight. When there is a mess in the egg basket, when you're carrying in your karma basket a lot of mess, inevitably it will manifest as something or the other. But when there is sadhana and when there is regular practice, these events get over very soon. What would have lasted for 6 months goes away in 6 days. The suffering is eradicated many times and sometimes minusculed. The quantum of the suffering goes down. And more, because of your sadhana, more and more, which is a free will, it's a conscious choice, more and more agami karmas, good karmas are collected, it cushions you. Even if you fall sick because of some kind of old karma, there are so many cushions created around you that the sickness, goes on very comfortably. The journey goes on very comfortably. Your state of mind and the surrounding gives you enough comfort. In sense of money, in sense of help, in sense of, helpers around you, in sense of a good weather or whatever. So suffering is eradicated. Parashakti is pure consciousness, and Aparashakti and Parashakti are playing this game together. They're playing this game together in you, around you. If you become aware, you hold the hand of Parashakti and let the Parashakti play the game. Doesn't matter. She is a part of you. She's not other than you. She's a part of the game. She's a part of you. Let her play the game. But you hold the hand of the Parashakti. You're assured of touching the higher mind and the higher gateways to all the dimensions higher. Always. Yeah? Does that make sense?
There's this term ananda, which, we keep hearing, and then there is equanimity. So equanimity is not like
being non-judgmental,
yeah,
and being non-oscillating and looking at everything as one.
Right. So it's not conflicting, like equanimity, and because ananda is like a
Ananda is, you see, happiness, pleasure, happiness, and joy. These are the 3 levels of experience, good experience. Pleasure is body-oriented, sense-oriented, physically oriented. Happiness is mind-oriented, subtle-oriented. That means the feeling, the ripples of happiness. I feel happy. And joy is deeper in the Anandamaya Kosha. Joy is a deeper experience in the Anandamaya Kosha. There are ripples of blissful energy, where it is in close proximity with the consciousness, and it is a part of the Parashakti. Bliss is a part of Parashakti, because it is the light flooded into the causal body, light of the consciousness which is flooding the causal body, and it's in movement, so it is Parashakti. So bliss is Parashakti, whereas happiness, is also Parashakti and Aparashakti together. Pleasure is Aparashakti, which is involving and engrossing and attaching. 3 layers. Have you understood? Bliss and joy, which normally is a spiritual experience. The reason could be any. It could be a song you hear, or a book you read, or a meditation, or something you see. It could be any. When you deeply feel that blissful and The physical indication of a blissful experience is you want to close your eyes and experience it. You feel if I keep my eyes open, then I will not be able to fully experience it. So you normally close your eyes to be with that. The bliss is pure Parashakti. Happiness is Para and Apara both. And pleasure is Aparashakti. All right? Now your question, that is equanimity and bliss contradicting to each other? It is not. In fact, in bliss you will be equanimous. You don't want to think about anything when you're really blissful. You just want to look at everything as one. You will helplessly look at everything as one. You will not be able to categorically say or judge people or form opinions. Bliss is such a thing. So it's not contradicting. Without there can be no bliss. Yeah, in fact, it's a product of bliss. You know, if someone is blissful for X, Y, Z reason, equanimity will come automatically. Yes, they're together. Yes, so I want you to write down few words that I'm giving you, and we're going to do a small kriya that I'm going to teach you. It's called a long Gayatri mantra that activates the Parashakti and takes you straight into the glory of the sun. Okay? It's a long Gayatri mantra. It's a kriya. It's a tantric kriya, but it's very powerful to activate the Shakti in your body. So right now, Om Bhur, you can write in English. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam, Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. It's a long Gayatri mantra. Yeah, I'm repeating it. Om Bhur, and if you can see my fingers, these are the points that activate these lokas. Om Bhur, then with these three fingers, Apo Jyoti Rasomritam. Apo Jyoti Rasomritam. Third eye, Brahma Bhur Bhuva Swaroma. Brahma Bhur Bhuva Swaroma. Okay? All right. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasomritam, Brahma Bhur Bhuva Swaroma. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasomritam, Brahma Bhur Bhuva Swaroma. Once more. Om Bhur, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyoti Rasomritam, Brahma Bhur Bhuva Swaroma. Now close your eyes and just surrender. Let your hands rest on your thighs. If you're sitting in the chair, then let your feet be on the ground. If you're sitting on the ground, then let your hands just rest on your knees or thighs. Be in a state of total surrender, complete surrender, in deep gratitude for all these beautiful lessons that are happening here these 9 days, for the showering of love, light, wisdom, knowledge, and kripa on all of you. Deep gratitude to all the masters and guides that are guiding us and so generously, so benevolently giving us wisdom and knowledge. In deep surrender, keep your attention to your heart. If you stop your breath for a moment, you'll be able to feel the heart beating. Take your attention there. Look at yourself traveling inside the corridors of your heart, the chamber of your heart, as a small, tiny person moving deeper and deeper inside. Standing outside a beautiful lighted space in your heart, in your hriday, which is flooded with light. Look at yourself standing there as a small, tiny person and this whole big field of white light. Look at yourself going into this field now, into this lighted space, going right in the center. Sit down there like a beautiful yogi. Sit down there like a beautiful yogi, like a Shiva. And be aware of that flooded white light all around you. Look at a thick pillar of white light falling on your head, showering on your head and spreading all around you. You're surrounded with the light, being showered with light. In this space where you're sitting, you're in communion with God. In this space where you're sitting, you're in unison with God. You're in complete surrender with the body consciousness sleeping, the mind sleeping now, the intellect sleeping, and your awareness is sitting there in the center of your heart, being showered and blessed by the light. Let your eyeballs not move now, as if you press the pause button of a video. You've become a statue. Everything has come to a standstill. Just enjoy the peace that you feel inside and outside of you. Let your eyeballs be fixed to a point. Let them not move. Body is in complete surrender. Mind, intellect is not interfering. You're in surrender to the light. Enjoy this peace for the next few minutes. Be in the state of surrender and stillness. Don't let your eyeballs move. Your body and everything is in complete no movement. Keep both your hands on the heart. Again, invoking gratitude and thankful for being here, for being showered with all this wisdom, love, all the blessings from all the lokas. The higher lokas are all governed by the Parashakti. The ones that we invoked just now are all governed by the Parashakti. May these lokas shower the blessings on you. May the awareness become larger and larger. May the free will be exercised in the light of wisdom and knowledge and not in the light of the ego. May each moment be a moment of deep acceptance of whatever is in our life. May each moment there be the isness of life in whole acceptance and letting go of the impact of whatever is happening. May each moment we be in deep surrender to the Devi, to the goddess. May each moment we be filled up with love, acceptance for her. And may each moment all our acts, all our actions be surrendered at her divine feet. A visual of holding her hand all the time is a blessing. If you're able to visualize that you're holding her hand all the time, it's a blessing. Until the time that we realize her in us, it's nice to be in the Dvaita, where she's here and I'm here, and I'm holding her hand all the time. and I'm receiving her blessings. I'm in a deep embrace. I'm being protected, guided, and led by her on my path. With this blessing, with this prayer, rub your palms together, wipe your face, cover your eyes, and then open them. I thank you all so much for being here. It was such a fascinating, such a receptive audience. Such a receptive, glowing audience, absolutely glowing. Each one of you is glowing with so much of joy and love. I love it. Thank you so much. Jai Ma.